about how I highlight and contour. So if you are interested in seeing, then just keep watching. I've already moisturized my face, but that is the most important part. If you have oily skin, I recommend a gel moisturizer or like a cream gel. You want it to not be that white, thick consistency. That's not gonna be very flattering once you put your makeup on. So the next thing that is very important before applying anything, foundation, concealer, anything, is to prime your face. I love using my Smashbox primer water and in conjunction with my Becca Ever Matte. These two together, I feel like my makeup just lasts forever. Like the next day, if I sleep in my makeup, it's still there. I love this stuff. So let's go ahead and do that. And I like to put the primer on my nose area, well, my T-zone, but not, you know, I don't like to really go heavy on this stuff because it is very drying. It's very matte. So only put it where you really want to control some oils. Alright, so after that, I like to just go ahead and go in with my foundation, which I love mixing my foundations now. I never really use one foundation. I love using my Makeup Forever with my NARS Luminous Weightless Foundation. And the NARS is in New Orleans, which is dark too. And Makeup Forever is in the shade 178. And this is the old Makeup Forever, not the new one. So I do like to use these in conjunction, so I just put a pump of each on the back of my hand. I've already shaken them up because you have to shake your foundation, so don't forget that. There we go. We have them there, and I just want to mix it together, and I just go ahead and apply. Now, you can apply this foundation or however you like, but this is really what's going to make your highlight and contour, you know, really pop and really be good. You really need a amazing base. So for my foundation, I like it to be full coverage, so I don't use a beauty blender to blend this out. I really like using a flat top because we're going to use the beauty blender for the concealer and the highlighting part of things. So I like to first take the rest that I have on the back of my hand. Then I like to pat it down just because like I said, I like it to be full coverage. I'm not going to do any spot concealing, but as you can see, I do have dark spots. I actually don't have to do any spot concealing because I am using this technique of applying my foundation, which makes it a more heavier coverage. I like to use as less product on my face as possible. That's what's going to give you a flawless highlight and contour look. So I like to just pat all of that. Alright guys, so I'm pretty finished blending all of that out, and as you can see, I have my base, which has evened out my skin tone. I have a lot of concealers that I like to use. If you want to go for more of a cheaper option, definitely go for the LA Girl Pro Concealer. But my all-time favorite, I would have to say, is the MAC Pro Longwear. I am absolutely in love with these. These are easy to blend, perfect for highlighting underneath the eyes. You really don't want anything that's going to be heavy, cakey, or anything like this. These are liquid, so they are very light. I really highly recommend a liquid concealer from under the eye. Please don't try to use creams. That's not really going to be the most flattering underneath the eye. It can definitely get into the creases, so I like to use the MAC Pro Longwear. And I'm going to be using NC45 and NC50. Now, the only reason I'm going to use these is because it really gives me a natural look, and I'm going for more of a daytime look. If I'm going for a night beat for the gods, highlight on fleek look, I would definitely just stay with the lighter color, but I do want to add a little bit of the NC50 to kind of tone this down a little bit because it is daytime on a Sunday, so I don't want to overdo it. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So I like to put an entire pump of this, which is pretty huge. And then I add a little bit of my NC50 just to darken this up a little bit. So let's see if we can just get a little bit out. Oop, that was kind of a lot, but it wasn't as much as the other one. So I'm sure we'll be able to get a good consistency. So I just blend that together. And as you can see, it darkened that up a little bit. And voila, I have a perfect under eye highlight going on. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and put that under my eye. As you can see, it's not too bright. It just really complements my skin tone. You want to enhance your skin, not overdo it, okay? And I really just like to pat this with my finger. Sometimes I'll use a brush, but really it really works best with my finger. I like to do it on the forehead. Just a little bit. You don't want to draw too much attention to the forehead, because highlighting is where you want the focus point to be on your face. So I really want to have like this diamond shape. It's what I kind of go for, and then I put it here, the center of my face pretty much. That's where I like people to look. And then I like to go down the bridge of my nose. All right, don't overdo the bridge of your nose as well, because you just want highlight to be, you know, just right down the middle. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with my beauty blender. It is damp, so you want to make sure it's damp, because that's when it's going to give you the perfect flawless look. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use that. Now you can either take it all the way up like this, or you can just make sure it's in a V shape. I like to make sure it's in a V shape. I don't really like going all the way out there, because I don't want my face to look, you know, like this. I'm not going for the night out drag look. I'm going for more of a, you know, natural daytime look, but not really natural. When you really want to bake, you really want to use something like this, a loose powder. But I also really love my translucent crystals one. This is really good as well. So I'm going to use this, but I do use this on more of a daily basis as well. When you are baking, you really want to make sure you really sink it in and feel the tightening under that eye. So I'm going to hold my head down, because I'm going to be still looking up at the mirror. So you want to make sure your eyes are completely up. Instead of me, it's basically me doing like this, but I'm looking down and looking this way. So I'm going to go ahead and just place this powder underneath my eye. Let me let you guys see. And if you don't feel a little bit of tightening, that means you didn't do it right. You should feel a little bit of tightening up underneath that eye, because you really want to prevent creasing and give you that flawless look. But you must keep your eyes still and don't move for about 5 to 10 seconds. Make sure that is all in. Okay, so now that we've got the under eye done, I'm going to put the rest of it where I highlighted as well, but I'm not going to really like go back into the powder. I don't want to bake that part too much. I just want to set it. So while this is sitting, I really like going in with my contour, just so I can go ahead and get that out the way. So I really like using my Bobbi Brown foundation stick, and this is in the shade Espresso, and this is shade number 10. You could definitely poke your lips out and find your cheekbones, but I'm pretty used to looking at my face and seeing. I can see from just looking that that is where my contour line should go. Do you see that dark line right there? You guys see it? Perfect. So I pretty much eyeballed it in my face of where I should put my contour. So I always just draw a line right there. Okay? And I just do the other side. As you can see, it's dark right there. Line drawn right there. Okay? If you want to do your forehead, you definitely can. Just do a little bit of swipes at the top, just like that. And I love to do it under here as well, because that's going to give that shadow so it doesn't look like you got a fat chin under there and all that good stuff. So I like to do that as well. And I also like to do my nose, but I do not draw it on. I would just use a brush for that. So I'll show you that in just a second. So now you want to take your contour brush, and I like using my Diva Beauty brush, and this is in the shade B07. It's the round contour brush. Looks like that. I just really like to take this, and what you want to do is when you are contouring, you want to bring it upward. As you can see, that's giving a very, very flawless contour. You can use circular motions, or I like to kind of go with my hairline. I know it's kind of weird, but whatever way my hair is going, that's how I blend out my contour. As you can see, the hairs are going like that, so I like to kind of blend that downwards. Okay, and then if you want to, with the rest of the highlight that's on here, you can definitely go under and make sure that line is pretty crisp. I wouldn't prefer you taking a lot of this because that could look really weird sometimes. So I would just take your beauty blender and kind of like pat underneath it to make sure that your contour stands out a little bit. I don't like the whole, you know, really white look under there. It really bothers me sometimes. So yeah, so what we're gonna do now is go ahead and dust this off. And I really like using my huge fan brush from Morphe. It's the E33. This thing is amazing for sweeping this away under the eye. I can get really close and it's just perfect. Like, so perfect. And it really kind of blends it out as well. I really like to blend with this brush so that it doesn't look like, you know, a line of demarcation from my contour to my highlight. Okay, and then I like to kind of go all over my face just to make sure all the powder is gone, because I did put a little powder, remember. And to kind of blend it out to make sure everything is pretty blended. Alright, so now I like to contour my nose, and I really like to use my Morphe E8 brush. This is a contour brush as well. Sometimes when I want a really precise highlight, I will use this, but I am going to be using it for my nose today. I'm just going to take a little bit on the brush, just like this. And I like to dab it on the back of my hand a little bit so it's not too harsh, and just go in the sides and then go up a little bit. Then go under my nose a little bit. Then I like to go over there a little bit. And that's just how I contour. I really like a very flattering nose contour. I really don't like for it to be harsh at all because that drives me crazy. I also like to go in on top of my contour with some bronzer, and I'm going to be using my Ebony Bronze right here. And I'm just gonna take a fluffy pointed brush. This is one of my Style Master brushes from eBay. So I'm just going to take some of this Ebony Bronze, and I really like this because it gives a red undertone, and I'm very much so into red undertone foundations or powders just because it gives me a more bronzy type of look. So I like to start off here and just kind of going over that. Do you see the difference? You really can bronze your face as well. That is the key to having flawless look, the flawless look. A lot of us dark skinned women think we can't bronze, but bronzing is what's going to make our skin look so good. And you just want to do the same exact routine like you did for the cream contour. I'm really just sweeping upward and blending out all of that. So the next step that I'm going to do is, and this is pretty much the last step, is highlight for the gods. And I'm going to be using Champagne Pop and my Morphe brush, and this is the M501. It may not be in stock, guys, but once it becomes in stock, you really want to get this brush because it's amazing. So I really like to dab inside of here, dust it off, and just apply it to the high points of my cheek. Yes, God, yes. And I like to go on the right underneath the brow bone, right above the brow, just right above that arch area, just to kind of highlight the arch a little bit, and the inner tear duct. Alright, and I really like to take it down the bridge of my nose and on my cupid's bow. Alright, so I'm just going to add my lippy, and I'm just going to add my Anastasia in Trust Issues, which is one of my favorite. I'm going to go ahead and add some mascara, and my look is not complete if I don't put something underneath my eye. And I'm pretty much just adding the same color I have on my lid. Alright, so next I'm going to add some blush, and I really like this one by MAC. Especially for the fall time, it just gives you a really golden, burgundy, dark plum look. Okay. The last thing I'm going to do is just kind of finish off my foundation, which I really like to use two sprays. I use my Smashbox primer water just to hold everything in, keep everything in place, and just be beat for the gods all day. And I use my MAC Fix Plus on top of that to give me the glow. So I feel like these together, it gives me what I need. So alright guys, so that is pretty much the end of my highlight and contour routine. Hope you guys like this video. This is a finished look, and I have really been trying to perfect my contour highlight routine, and that's why I haven't posted it, and I've just been recording videos and videos and videos of me doing my foundation. Hopefully I can just tag this video and you guys can kind of relate back to this video as my highlight and contour in my foundation routine. So if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up and rate, comment, and subscribe, and share it to all your friends so that we can all be one happy Beat for the God family. Huh? Okay, so I think that's it. That's it. Deuce it.